Alright. This is the Telos Boltace. Apparently you can't block with these weapons. I just now found this out. Alright. So just before I get into this video, I wanted to say I don't think what they did to this weapon was fair. I do not think that it is fair to destroy a weapon just because of how strong it was. And the only reason it ever got as strong as it was because people used macros to abuse its passive, which was really overpowered at the time, I will add. But what they did just made the weapon pointless. Arbiters of Hexus, after the Boltor nerf and Boltor Prime is no longer good, the Telos Boltor also followed with it. Arbiters of Hexus has nothing. All they have are good mods. That's it. And they've had no weapons, and the only weapon that was ever a standout for Arbiters of Hexus was the Telos Boltace. Basically, to sum it all up for anyone who wasn't there when it existed, from what I understand, if you had primed reach on, you would get a 26.5 meter attack on a slide attack, and this would get guaranteed slash procs, and it would hit everything within your line of sight. I'm pretty sure it actually didn't hit everything within your line of sight. I'm pretty sure it actually hit things through walls, but that's not important, because that time is gone. But you would essentially just throw on a maiming strike and some crit damage mods, and you'd run around the map just like just this constantly. Now obviously, since you'd have Berserker because of your red crits and everything, it'd be a lot faster and a lot less annoying to look at. But it did that. So this is the build. The stance doesn't really matter to me. That's just what I run. This doesn't need to go on here. It's got a nice status chance with this build, and it's got a decent enough crit chance that Blood Rush and Drifting Contact can take over. So you could throw on a Maiming Strike somewhere in here. If you wanted to, you could get rid of Berserker. I don't. Honestly, I don't like to do Maiming Strike if I don't have attack speed. And honestly, a 10% crit chance is enough. I don't need it. And also because it can pull in enemies from far away. I'll show that in a little bit. It's really nice. So I run Gas because, of course, I'm bringing Naramon with me. But basically, how it works now is you do a slide attack, and that pulls enemies towards you within a certain radius, and then you have a 7-second, you'll see in the top right, period of time for you to do another slide attack, and that slide attack will activate the second passive. So I'll do it here in actual succession this time. So 1, and then it's active, and then I do it again, and that one throws enemies away and does damage, and it has a really large radius. So I'm going to turn on Warframe Invincibility real quick. Gonna get 8 of these guys. Level 95. I'm gonna be able to one-hit kill these guys. Well, I guess it's a 2-hit. Making this a really, really strong weapon. Faster! There we go. Okay. So, I'm going to be able to 2-hit these guys. See? All of them. Gone. 2 hits. Okay, jokes aside. That's that. Also, I forgot to mention this. When holding it, you get a boost to your aim glide, and you also get a boost to your bullet jump. So if you combine this with Mirage, you can get some ridiculous speeds real quick. I know this is a build about the weapon, but just real quick, I'm going to throw on, take that off. Bullet jump, mobilize. There it is. Let's throw on mobilize. No. Mobilize. Mobilize. Alright. Now that I've thrown that on, actually, one other thing that I can do is there's a drift mod that increases parkour speed. Yeah, parkour velocity. There we go. So, what do I mean? Well, you add these together. And one, you just have an increased sprint speed, but you'll notice that every time I do a bullet jump, I go really high and really far. And then when you combine that with the usual aim glide, you can get going really fast. I'd say this is faster than Loki, and I will count it as being faster than Loki. I do not include sprint speed as my only test for sprint, or for actual like Warframe speed. I would say this is faster than Loki. At least I haven't done a side-by-side test, but that doesn't matter. Switching back to my actual power strength build, yada yada yada. And this time we're actually going to go in and actually kill some enemies. So, alright, all 20 of them. I'm gonna throw on my cat, actually. You'll see that it does some pretty decent damage normally. It's definitely a weapon that will very quickly and easily take out level 50s in the star chart. And it's actually kind of started to grow on me. And I'll talk a little bit later on what I think they could do. Like, as you can see, it's taking quite a bit of hits, but these are level 95s, and I haven't gone into, like, what makes the thing strong. So, it's good anywhere in the star chart, but it's kind of grown on me, and I just wish that they would do something with it, and I'll explain a little bit on, you know, my opinion for what they could do to the thing. But like, for now, it's just me bludgeoning stuff to death. Oh wait, the pause AI is on, so they couldn't have gone anywhere. Alright. That was pretty good, right? I mean, I'll show it against bombards. Now, as I always say in all of my tests, I always test with my cat on, and I always test, oh wait, I'm supposed to pull them. There we go. And I always do my test with, I can't remember. I always do my test. Wow, I almost got pushed off the cliff by my own passive. I always do the test with invisibility, and because I'm basically testing like how effective it is and like a long survival where you're always invisible, I always leave on Warframe invincibility, and since, you know, pause AI always stays on as well. I will show like how well it can rile up enemies here, or, you know, get them all. It gets them all up like really nicely, but you can do that as well, and it sends them flying. You might send one or two off the map, perform a finisher maybe. I'll turn off pause AI real quick. Just for this. Okay, now I have 2 viewers on my stream. Why? You can see it pulls them in from quite a decent distance, and then you can just do that. You can really do this however you want to, but I'm not invisible. See all these enemies? Just pull them in, and then throw them away. Alright, I'm gonna kill these. And I'm going to just hold on real quick. I can only do this so fast. I'm pulling out Twitch because there's people in my stream, so I don't know if they're saying anything. And if they are, then I want to be able to at least see it. My phone has its volume on. Yay, that's always great. Unprofessional! Alright. So, as I said earlier, invisibility. So it has a decent critical chance, and combined with Blood Rush and all that stuff, you should be able to get your crits going pretty easily. So, let's... Why is my cat still... My cat is so dumb sometimes, alright? Whatever they did with the simulacrum, it broke a few things. Alright. Here we go. Alright, see, I'm now invisible. We got the crits, we got the gas procs. It's doing pretty decent damage, and it's pretty comparable to my Legion because of its 25% status chance. It's not the 30% and the guaranteed toxin, the guaranteed 100% toxin from a status proc. Dog, stop touching my foot. It's not that. Dark Ninja, I could see a total. Oh yeah, you're within the umbra of a total solar eclipse, aren't you? Yeah, dude, that's really cool. I wish I could, you know, do that, but I'm friggin' California, friggin' I don't. The dog, foot away from mine, please. You're scratching me. Yeah, it is pretty cool. I don't know what an umbra, what the umbra of a solar eclipse would look like, but whatever. Okay, now I'm gonna throw on my Warframe abilities real quick so that I can just absolutely decimate everything. 2 minutes 20 seconds. What for? What? Oh, like right now? Wait, is the solar eclipse happening like now? I don't know where you're at in the world, never mind. Oh, no? Then what do you mean by 2 minutes 20 seconds? As you can see, it like really groups up the enemies though. Really nice. Really gets, you know, the kills. Four viewers now for no reason. Alright, this is going to be my last showing of this, and then I'm going to switch to heavy gunners. I'll pull out my Legion just for a comparison, but it's pretty comparable. Especially because of this, the buff from where I am. Honestly, I'm lost. I'm just focusing on my video right now. Yeah, so I'm going to pull out my Legion for a comparison, but the passive that allows you to do the whole slide attack thing, like that, that passive, I am, just going to say that, it allows you to just group up enemies. And by grouping up enemies, you can deal a lot of gas damage. Like, a lot of gas damage. And I'm gonna pull out my Legion real quick and kill the same bombards. Legion. No, wrong colors. There we go. Make sure the build's proper. Basically, exact same build, except this one you need Maiming Strike. Instead of... I don't have more... Like, okay, I don't have the extra gas damage. I would put Maiming Strike on, but that would, I have a dash on there, just base. Alright. Like, it's pretty comparable. Like, reasonably comparable, I should say. Legion has slash procs as well, but I don't know. I'm gonna be tweaking this build, fine-tuning it. I definitely do think that this weapon deserves a buff, just for the sake of Arbiters of Hexus. It doesn't need to be anything spectacular. In my opinion, it just needs to get a buff. Whether they make it so that the, I mean, I'd say... just completely remove the cooldown and completely remove the, what is it called? The... Can't even think. I'd say completely remove the cooldown and... What even is it? What is English? The cooldown and the secondary effect the one that sends things flying. Like this. I'd say remove that. Honestly, it does like 2 damage. Helios Prime BP, I might. I'll check when I'm done in the simulacrum. It does a ridiculous amount of damage, if you group them all up together like that. I'm just gonna show 8 at a time now. For very quick and easy damage values, but just in my opinion, right, this weapon needs a little bit of a rethink, because how fair is it that just because it was OP because of those players who used macros, that you shouldn't be allowed to hold on, how much damage did I do there? Anyone else see that? They were at like a quarter health left when I started actually attacking them. Wait, was it because I was already invisible? I don't know, we'll test it. It just throws enemies quite a ways away. Does some decent damage. That's all it's really here for. I would really like to see this weapon get reworked. I think it definitely needs to be taken like a look at. Dog, please. I definitely think that it needs to have a look taken at it, because it is a great weapon. But it's... Okay, dog, you keep wanting me to open up the door, but then you don't go out there. Alright. Great weapon, in my opinion. I don't see why everyone says that it's dead, but it's definitely a shadow of its former self. And I definitely think that sometime in the near future it should have another look taken at it. And in my opinion, they should remove this ability, the secondary part of Storm Path. They should also remove the timer, because the strength of it was the whole slash effect. The guaranteed slash proc combined with a maiming strike would just absolutely obliterate everything within a 26-meter radius. Or was it diameter or radius? I wasn't playing at the time, so I could not tell you. But that was where the problem lied, was the fact that you could maiming strike, primed reach, and guaranteed slash procs. What more do you need? Honestly, every hit would be a red crit, every hit would be a slash proc, and every hit would have 26 meters. It was radial damage, but that doesn't really matter because it's still red crit slash procs. And yeah, so what I definitely think that they could do is they can make it so that this, the pull, hold on, I'm gonna go up here and get some more enemies. I think that this ability right here should do a decent amount of damage. It should pull them and do some good damage. It shouldn't be just useless, that ability. That's just my opinion. But I definitely think they should remove the cooldown, remove the AoE throw ability, and what they should also do is make it so that it can pick up items, like a vacuum. Did that body just get picked up? They should allow it to pick up items, like vacuum, but just a longer range. And I thought about it, and I was like, what do I think they should do? It should just do decent damage, that pull ability. I mean, look at, okay, the Cyanoid Heliocore is kinda, yeah. Sancti Magistar, pretty good. Secure Electa, it's just a good weapon. If it can't have a good passive, it needs to at least be a good weapon, and it's decent, but it's not worth it, in my opinion. If you have a maiming strike, you can make a secure Electa work. In fact, you can make any melee weapon work with a maiming strike, a blood rush, and a drifting contact. But that's the problem, is that this weapon, it's not the greatest, in my opinion. I would really like to see this weapon return, because Arbiters of Hexus is just, It's nothing without this weapon. Don't think that it's actually like gone and you can't get it anymore, because I got it today. It's been growing on me, and I enjoy throwing enemies around and tossing them all over the place. But what's really going to decide like my point of view on this weapon is when I go and try to take it into a 2-hour MOT survival, whether it's Neo or Axie, I don't really care. That's where I'm going to actually figure out whether or not this weapon is like actually as good as I think it is, because this passive is nice. It groups up all the enemies. Groups up all the enemies, you know, and you hit them procs, and it's definitely effective. But is it really, like, these are only level 95. By the time, okay, NASA should hire me. By the time you've reached 2 hours, you're already dealing with level 300. 100 isn't just 3 times stronger than a level 95. It's more than 3 times stronger. It's actually got exponentially higher health, higher armor, higher damage. And all of these things are going to come into play. My Legion can handle it. It can handle it pretty well. There are so many corrupted ancients at that point, but it can handle it pretty well. My Orthos can handle it pretty well if it gets its combo multiplier up. But I don't know where this weapon's going to end up. The nice thing, as I have mentioned before, is that its passive allows you to group up enemies for them gas procs, which is pretty sweet. Not gonna lie. See, you got gas procs on all of these guys here. And then you can just hit them all and all of them get the gas status. It does a lot of damage. There's no way around it. I just like 3-hit those guys. But that's I mean, how often are you gonna run into a group of 8 heavy gunners? Like, maybe some butchers real quick? I know I'm rambling, but I genuinely do want to see this weapon come back because, well, it's not really fair what they did to it, in my opinion. Everyone has their own opinions on everything. Is it because I was close to the enemies? Yeah, it was. Like, yeah, I one-shot them. Pfft, whatever, my Legion can do it too. I don't know. I just really want to see this weapon back in some fashion. I mean, it'd be cool even if the pull effect doesn't even need to be stronger. They could just make it like just the pull effect, but no cooldown. No cooldown. That'd be great. That'd be pretty cool. Haha. No cooldown. And then they could make it strike some bolt of lightning in the middle. Because it's called Stormpath. You know? It could be like a lightning tornado. I don't really care. It's just do it. Somehow. Alright? It's already effective. There's no beating around the bush there. It's already reasonably effective. Like, I'm at this point rambling and repeating myself, but I'm gonna just kill these ancients real quick, just to prove what I'm saying. It's already a good weapon, but it lacks the I'm an Arbiters of Hexus weapon. It lacks the I represent Arbiters of Hexus. And this is a reason why you should go for my faction. Things like the Cyanoid Gamma Core eventually got nerfed, and so did this. And, well, at least Cephalon Suda had the Cyanoid Simulator to fall back on. Which has technically even gotten buffed. And that's why Suda is still at least semi-useful. Her first and second weapons are pretty decent all around the board. People like Nuloka have the Tigress, the Sancti Tigress, and the Sancti Magistar, which are both really great weapons. Then you have the Vacor Heck and the Vacor Merlock. And okay, well, I don't know about the Parent Sequence. Parent Sequence is pretty trash, not gonna lie. But they have decent weapons all around the board. They have weapons that are just good in stats. Whereas Arbiters is just... Oh, yeah, let's not mention Red Veil with their Rakta one of the most favorited bows in the entire game. The Rakta Dark Dagger, which is just a dagger that a lot of people use because, well, covert lethality. Hey, wait, I can block now. What the fudge? Alright, and then they have the Rakta Ballistica, which some people like, but I've used the normal Ballistica. I had enough of that for one day. But Arbiters is nothing. The closest thing that they've got to a weapon is 2 pieces of bone attached to whatever the fudge that pink stuff is. And it's not really fair in my opinion. I'm again repeating myself, but I genuinely feel sorry for what has happened to this weapon because of macroing and just... I understand the OP build. The OP build was OP and it did not belong. Just like Coptering, it was a little out of hand. Doesn't mean that it shouldn't still be in the game, in some fashion at least. This weapon should make a return, and like I'm saying, like I've said a bunch of times actually, it should be this. The slide attack should be reworked. Just to have a vortex, they could have a guaranteed electric proc in it, or something, maybe a cool electrical effect like the lightning dash mod in the center of it. Whatever. As long as it pulls enemies from a decent distance, pulls loot, and does a decent amount of damage, I am okay with it. And it should, in my opinion, it should count towards combo counter. In my opinion. But that's DE's decision, if they want to go with this idea, if they ever even get this idea. Haha, give it to DE. Anyways. I finally got my hands on them. And let's just say, I expected to be disappointed. And let's just not even... Let's not sugarcoat it. I'm not disappointed. By all means, this is a decent weapon. This is a weapon that I will probably be equipping for just fun. It's fun to run around the map. It's fun to actually look at my timers and understand, like, when to use my slide attacks. They were the first weapons? I don't know, confused as to what you mean by that. It's fun to run around and use this weapon. It pulls in enemies, it throws them off cliffs. It's just a genuine fun time. But it simply doesn't really belong in the endgame. The only reason it's even as good as it is in this video is because I have Naramon. And basically a perfect build for it. I mean, I'm calling my build perfect and everything, but it honestly... This mod needs to be maxed out and this needs to be replaced with Prime Pressure Point, which means I could theoretically be doing more damage than I currently am. But this is, in my opinion, like the perfect build for it. It's got good status, it's got everything, and the crits, I mean... You'll see here. I mean, look, I instantly got 75% crit. I instantly got my invis. It's got decent enough crit. There's not really much wrong with the weapon other than the fact that it lacks its utility, and that's... It lacks the... It's a syndicate weapon feel. And that's it. I'm leaving this here in a very sad and depressing state. Because this weapon used to be apparently OP, and I look at it and I'm like, wow. But now... It's just not the same anymore. I guess I could still technically one-shot some stuff. What does it do to an ambulance? We gotta test this for science. Alright. Highly doubt it's gonna do anything. Nope, doesn't pull the ambulance. My cat stripped its armor, but even then, I include that as a realistic scenario. Alright, leaving this off here. Finally, I've been rambling for almost 30 minutes now. I don't know. This weapon, it feels really fun. Oh yeah, and I'm pretty sure my my build is a zero forma build, just a catalyst, if I'm not mistaken. Am I I am not mistaken. It is a zero forma single catalyst build. Obviously, it's going to take at least one more forma if you want to max this out and this. I definitely recommend you put a V on here. You'll get 7 extra mod slots because Blood Rush, which might be enough to get a maxed out pressure point. I don't know. 7 extra mod slot. I don't know how many pressure point takes. But again, rambling, leaving this off here. Sorry for rambling, but I just had to actually like sit down and kind of like talk about why this weapon needs a rework. And with that, I'd like to thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye. I'm still streaming, apparently. Still streaming, apparently, even though Twitch, it crashed, so whatever.